Archaic humans represent a period in human evolution and are our ancestors who had different characteristics from modern humans. It is believed that archaic humans lived approximately 400,000 years ago. Their brain sizes generally ranged from 1,200 to 1,400 cubic centimeters, and they show anatomical similarities to modern humans. Archaic humans represent an important evolutionary stage in human history and are thought to be ancestors of modern humans. Research on archaic humans sheds light on human evolution and history. Therefore, archaic humans played a significant role in the emergence of modern humans by increasing genetic diversity throughout the evolutionary process. The word archaic refers to that which is oldest, first, or original. Thus, we can refer to our ancestors in history as archaic, primitive, or original humans. If we wish to understand ourselves and our experiences in today's world, we should also try to understand primitive humans. This is because every modern human, all of us, continues to embody the archaic human deep within our souls. Our bodies, which link us to mammals and bear the traces of evolutionary processes, reflect that our souls are also the product of a developmental process with archaic characteristics. This means that we are all, both physically and spiritually, a continuation of the process that started with our ancestors. The things we hear about primitive people might seem strange to us. For instance, while it makes sense to us that a person could die from old age or a terminal illness, a primitive human does not see it this way. When an elderly person dies, they do not believe it's due to old age. They might say that there are others who live longer. Similarly, no one dies from a disease because there are people who recover from the same disease or never catch it at all. According to them, the true cause is always magic. A person is killed by a spirit or a spell. Most primitive tribes consider death during war as the only natural death. For them, the enemy that brings death is either a sorcerer or uses a magical weapon. If we also believed in sorcerers and mysterious powers instead of natural causes, these explanations would seem very reasonable to us. Primitive humans are neither more rational nor less logical than us. Their assumptions are simply different, and that is what distinguishes them from us. Their thoughts and actions are based on different premises. Anything out of the ordinary disturbs and frightens them. When we say, "This tree burned because it was struck by lightning," we think we are describing a chain of natural events. Primitive humans also follow a logical chain when they say, "A sorcerer used lightning to burn this tree." When explaining events, they are very similar to us, not questioning the validity of their assumptions. Primitive humans' moral rules are different too. When asked about the difference between good and evil, a tribe leader might say, "It is good when I steal an enemy's wife, but it is bad when he steals mine." In many places, stepping on someone's shadow is considered a grave insult. Primitive humans are just as capable of assessing moral behavior as we are. Only the forms of good and evil are different, and the process of moral judgment is the same. Similarly, it is thought that primitive humans have more sensitive sensory organs than us. However, their highly developed sense of direction, hearing, and sight are directly related to their activities. They are incredibly slow and clumsy when faced with an unfamiliar situation. There is no evidence that primitive humans think, feel, or perceive completely differently from us. Their psychological functioning is the same. However, their basic life assumptions are different. It is a fact that primitive humans, in terms of good and evil, are simpler and more childlike than us. We find this strange because we think they lived in a very different world. If we understand their assumptions, everything becomes easier, and the path to understanding ourselves today becomes clearer. The mystery of the primitive human is solved when we begin to understand our own assumptions. Our belief that everything has a natural and explainable cause illustrates our rational approach. We are convinced of causality, one of our most sacred doctrines. In our world, there is no place for invisible, hidden, subjective, and supernatural forces. We categorically reject the idea of hidden and arbitrary powers because we have drawn a logical picture of the cosmos for ourselves and continue to live in it. The world we currently live in is tightly bound by rational rules. Yet, we also experience coincidental events. We regard these events as purely accidental. These coincidences disrupt the order we live in, and we do not like this because coincidences are the most dangerous enemies of the life we try to guarantee and continuously threaten it. We despise these coincidences because they contradict our logic. Even if we interpret a coincidental event in any way, we cannot change the fact that it has the power to affect us. The more we strive to maintain order in our lives, the more we exclude randomness, and the less we need to protect ourselves from it. However, although the systems we live in deny it, many people still consider the possibility of coincidences or expect something from them. Primitive humans accept that everything is brought about by hidden, invisible, and uncontrollable forces, i.e., everything is subject to chance. But they do not call it chance. They say intent or purpose. What we call a coincidence is an uncontrollable power for them. Primitive humans, based on the realities of their environment, reach judgments. When an unexpected event occurs, they are rightly surprised and want to know its special causes. Up to this point, they act like us, but they go further. Where we say it's entirely coincidental, they say it's intentional. Because we have forgotten how our grandparents and their grandparents lived and felt, the approaches of primitive humans seem strange to us. Some random events that occurred during our day and seem completely meaningless to us might be a series of omens to primitive humans. For example, if a bird enters your room in the morning, you witness an accident on the road an hour later, receive news of a death in the afternoon, spill dinner on yourself, and find out you've lost your keys when you return home. A primitive human would not overlook any link in this chain of events because each link answers their expectations. According to them, such a day is cursed, and nothing should be done. We consider this a superstitious belief, but in the world of the primitive man, it is a wise action. When something extraordinary happens, primitive humans are not surprised. The thing itself is surprising. What we might call imagination, or the power of suggestion, appears to primitive humans as hidden powers playing with their fate. For instance, those who enter that cave will die. There is a great snake living in that mountain. That hill is the tomb of a legendary king. That tree emits a sound that calls to people. That road is protected by demons. Primitive humans see nothing mysteriously odd about all these. They accept them as natural. We are the ones who find them strange. In fact, these are also seen in our daily lives, but we express them in a more civilized way. In conclusion, we cannot see ourselves as separate from primitive humans. Thanks to the science of genetics, we know that our bodies have been shaped through inheritance from our ancestors. Therefore, could our souls have been shaped in a similar way?